Let's start from our brief introduction. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Okay, so I'm Rachelle. I from the United States. I live near Boston, and my daughter and I have a YouTube channel called Dream English where we make videos to help people learn English.
Okay,
And
that's
you?
great. As you know, my name is Vikas, and currently I am a student. So I am doing basically Bachelor of Technology. So it's my second year.
Okay, awesome. So
So
what kind
apart
of technology are you doing?
Bachelor of Technology,
Oh, of technology. Okay, okay.
in short, we call VTech.
Okay. Is there any particular technology? Like my son does robotics and mechanical engineering kind of stuff.
Yeah, so my department is civil engineering. We have
So,
to make
okay.
structures, infrastructures, buildings.
Okay, interesting. Interesting.
Yeah, and apart from my academics, I have a passion of learning English speaking. So recently, I have started a YouTube channel. Name is EnglishYaari, and
Okay.
yeah,
And how long have you been doing that?
if I talk about my YouTube, so it's been only 1 month since I
Okay,
have
1 month.
started.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm super new. Like we've been doing this for almost 2 years, but it's a part-time thing for us. So I'm still like we're super newbies for the whole YouTube thing.
Yeah, yeah. So what's your full-time job? What
So
do you
my
do?
full-time job, I actually work in a high school. So I work with the students in their last year of high school, and I help them with applying to college um, for doing their college applications. Which I'm not sure how they are in India, but here in the U.S. they're
Yeah,
very, very complicated. And then there's applications for financial aid to help pay for college, and those are very complicated. So that's
yeah.
what I do for work.
Yeah, that's great. Uh, and how's your experience on YouTube? As you told, you have been on YouTube since 2 years. So how's your
Almost,
experience
yeah,
from that?
almost 2 years. And it was actually an idea of my daughter's who wanted to have a YouTube channel. And I said we could have one if it was something something educational. And she came up with the idea. And at first, I wasn't too keen on being on YouTube myself, but now I actually like it. I learned how to edit and I like being creative. I try to make videos that are just like I don't really
Yeah,
teach grammar. Like I try to teach by drawing and giving examples and making the videos easy
yeah,
to understand. So
yeah,
I have fun with it basically. That's my
yeah,
experience is that it's fun. I like it.
yeah. And now it's become your hobby, like you have started,
Yes.
taking interest.
Yes. Yes.
So I wanted to ask a question.
Sure.
English is not our, no, it's your mother tongue, it's your native language. But if I talk about India and other countries, uh, it's English is not our native language. It's not our first language. We have to learn for business purposes, for work purposes. What would be your suggestion for us if anyone want to learn it in a short period of time?
To learn English in a short period of time. I mean, I think like it's my suggestion to learn is to just try to immerse yourself as much as possible. Like basically every single time, if you watch any YouTube, if you watch any television, if you watch movies, to be watching them in English, to be turning on dubbing it. If it's like movies that you can dub it into English and have the English subtitles, do not watch them with is it Hindi is your native? Like, and I'm learning from the last time I spoke with somebody from India that the native language, the main language is Hindi.
Yes, yes, Hindi.
Right. So like not to have the like I used to watch, I studied Spanish and I used to watch things in Spanish, but with English subtitles. And that's really not helpful because I'm not paying as much attention to the language. I'm reading the subtitles. So now what I do is I watch everything in Spanish and with Spanish
Wow.
subtitles. So I would suggest learning English, the same thing. Watch everything, listen to things all in English as much as possible to immerse yourself as much as possible. Um, and try to watch things that are easier to understand.
Yeah,
Because if you're just watching things that are not comprehensible at all, then you're not gaining anything.
yeah. And also if you go for hard things and which you can't understand, then it would be not too hard. You will start feeling boring, and we will
Mm-hmm.
give up very soon.
Absolutely. It'll be boring to you. You'll lose like motivation and and interesting things. Like if you're not watching
Yeah,
things that are interesting and fun, then that's also not going to be any help to you. But there's a lot for English, I'm sure, because like think about it, like what are the main languages? Like it would be like English and Chinese and Spanish and like the main. So there's tons and tons of content in English,
yes,
and
yes.
I think like trying to absorb content in English is so much
Mm,
easier than, well, when I was in college, which was a while ago, it was in the
yes.
90s. There was barely the internet. There wasn't all this. So basically, if I wanted to try to study something, I had to go get tapes from the
Yes.
library and play them. I couldn't like now you can listen to,
Yeah,
you can watch all kinds of things on the internet. And so it's I think much easier to immerse yourself in a
yes,
language, even if
yes.
you can't go to that country.
Yeah, yeah. Now everything become easy to learn. You can
Yeah,
learn any language just sitting on your room, on your home.
yeah. And like what I do, like every single time, if I'm exercising, if I'm doing whatever, I'm listening. Like I listen to podcasts, so I'm always listening to things in the language that I'm learning. So I don't wait, or if I'm driving, because when I go to work, it's a half-hour drive, so I'm listening to Spanish because that's what I'm trying to learn. So I'm just trying to immerse myself all the time whenever I have time to do that. So that would might be my suggestion, because the more hours of listening to the language, you're going to like develop an ear for the language and you'll be able to understand it more. And then I think
Yes,
by that you'll be able to speak it better, because you'd have developed the ear for the language.
yes, yes. I think for learning any language, we should have some content, and content will come from listening, reading a lot of things, and after that, we have to also try speaking. So in India, our education system also run in English. Like we have to read everything in English, but the problem is people not prefer to talk in English. In
Mm,
college, in a school, teacher also speak Hindi.
right, right. I mean, that makes sense, because I think even when um, when we're studying a language, there's the tendency to just like read it and study it and not speak it. And I think especially when you're not as comfortable, like when I speak to people from other countries, they'll tell me often they studied English in school, but they studied it from books and they didn't do the speaking part of it. So
Yeah,
if you're not speaking it, then you're not gonna really retain it. And I think when you're just always like reading and studying from books, it's kind of like you're just trying to memorize it for the test or memorize it, but you're not actually like you're not
yeah,
absorbing it that way. If that makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah. Observation should be the most important part.
Yeah.
So
And so I also like myself, like I was trying to do a lot of reading in Spanish, but I decided I would watch more YouTubes with the subtitles, because if I'm reading it and I'm just like saying it to myself or reading it aloud and I'm pronouncing it wrong, then I'm going to develop bad habits. So I've decided instead that I would, until I feel like my pronunciation is there and that I developed an ear, that instead I would like watch a lot of content with the subtitles. So that way I'm listening to the right pronunciation, as opposed to if I'm just trying to read a Spanish book and I'm pronouncing things wrong, then I'm just going to then
yeah.
develop this habit of pronouncing these particular words wrong, if that makes sense.
So going ahead, I have a next question to you. What's your future plan for YouTube?
Yeah. So,
That you enjoyed
my
this video, please do like and share my video.